I've sent millions of cold emails. Here are the 3 truths that most gurus are not going to tell you. After 15 years in Fortune 500 sales and now running an agency that books over 400 meetings a month, I've learned something that most cold email experts will never admit. The entire industry is built on selling you the wrong solution for the wrong problems. Everyone's focused on the perfect subject lines, viral templates, or the latest growth hack. But none of that matters if you get the fundamentals wrong. So today, I'm going to share the 3 truths that most agencies don't want you to know, because once you understand these, you'll realize why most of them can't deliver what they're promising. Truth 1, your offer is more important than the copy. The most well-written email in the world can't save a bad offer. Most email agencies will start with basic email templates or viral email templates rather than really understanding what it is you sell and how to best position your company. These agencies will use templates they found online, viral templates from other email agencies, latest growth hack. They'll even use AI and personalize and focus on all of that versus understanding the offer. All the AI personalization in the world doesn't save a bad offer. The reality is cold prospects need better offers and different offers to convert than referrals or warm inbound leads. Warm inbound leads are going to consist of 3 things: organic traffic from your socials, organic from your website, or it could be from referrals or even conferences. The reason referrals work so well and close at a high rate and are happy to pay you those retainers is simply just because there's social proof already there. Either they know somebody that you know, they saw you speak at a conference, they researched you and decided to meet with you after researching you. All of those leads, they're much, much warmer than a cold prospect and more likely to pay you your services, whether it's a flat retainer, no guarantee. They're more likely to pay you for your services just because they're such a warm lead and already have the social proof there to do so. But a cold prospect needs to know, why should I work with you, who I don't know? Why should I take the time to meet with you? And how does this make my business or my life better by potentially taking the time to meet with you? And a cold prospect needs that. Where a warm prospect already knows those things, cold prospect needs to see that in an email, understand how you can impact their life and how you can improve their business. The second part of an offer is the risk reversal. Here's how you do a risk reversal. Risk reversal is essentially, if I work with you and it doesn't work out, what happens? So you promise I'll make you money, but what happens if I don't? Performance-based. That's what we do. Performance-based agency. We don't make money unless you make money. Second one, guarantee. We can get this result guaranteed or X, or your money back, full refund, work for free until we do. Those are typical core offers. Not every agency needs the performance-based or the guarantee, but those are things we look at when creating an offer for cold email for an agency, SaaS, tech company. Now, here's what we do when we're trying to figure out an offer for an agency. Here's the 4 steps we take. First thing we do about a company is ask about their current services. Understand what they do. A lot of agencies are full service agency, Amazon agency, TikTok agency, website, whatever, SEO. They do all of these things, or they work in a specific industry. But we want to understand exactly what they do, the offers that they offer, which industries, which platforms they sell on, TikTok, Amazon, Instagram, Facebook, all of those. Where do they run their paid ads? What type of SEO do they do? I want to really understand their business and who they sell those services to. Once I know what an agency does for their business, there's usually 1 or maybe 2 things that convert at a really high level via cold traffic. Example, from a full service marketing agency, but I do full service on TikTok. TikTok's going to get me more meetings than just saying I'm a full service agency. So for top of funnel, we might target specifically helping a company with TikTok because that's going to convert at a higher rate. Just one example. Second thing we do is we look at their case studies. Who's the biggest companies they worked with? On average, how much revenue do they increase clients? What are the results they typically get with clients? What's the return on investment with clients? Whatever it is, what are the case studies and how well do they perform for their clients? And that can give indication too on maybe percentage of increase we potentially could see for a cold prospect. We can increase your sales by X%. We increase your sales on average by 20%, whatever it is. The third thing I ask is, what is your current pay structure? How do you get compensated for your services? A lot of times it's unique how they get paid, and there's different ways to position that within outbound. Could be performance-based, based on how they're structured. Could be no large upfront payments. Could be no retainer. There's different ways to position it for the company, and that can help again with the offer. The fourth thing I do is then essentially summarize all of these components and figure out out what's going to convert the most via cold email. Now, we send millions of cold emails, so we know what's working, what's not, what is more likely to work, what unique positioning. That's probably where we spend the most time with our clients, and that's probably what gives us our competitive edge. But that's where we spend the bulk of our time to figure out how to get this client results. It's not the AI personalization. It's not some cool, fancy new email template. It's literally just understanding those components, those three components, summarizing that and figuring out which is going to work and which is going to convert the best via cold email. And here's how I know why this 4-step process works. One, we just have gotten consistently better results for our clients than they have gotten from previous agencies, time and time again. Two, specific examples of when we did that with our own clients and saw better results. Coast Digital comes to the top of mind. They were a paid ad agency that also did some SEO. Specifically, they did things with UGC creators. What we did was we looked at their company, what they offer. The UGC creators made the most sense to target e-commerce companies who are interested in being on TikTok. And we used TikTok to help fill the top of funnel. That alone got us 10 to 15 meetings every single month for an agency that never had any success with cold email before. Second thing we did was they did SEO, asked more questions about the SEO, and we found out that they did a lot with ChatGPT, Gemini, and the new AI SEO that was rolling out as they were building this into their business. So we built an AI, they call it, I think, AEO offer, and started pitching that to e-commerce companies. That's going crazy good, and we're consistently getting 30 to 40 meetings with that type of offer. And again, this is a company that had 0 meetings. They worked with us. We were getting them 3 to 4 meetings, and then we had a conversation on offers and adjusting them, and we immediately went from 3 to 4 meetings a month to 10 to 15, and then again with the AI SEO offer, about 40 to 50 meetings a month pretty consistently now. Now this is a normal process for ours, is to review their offer on the onboarding call to help maximize the results immediately versus waiting months to get results. And the real test for your cold email offer, I tell everybody this, read the cold email yourself. If you wouldn't respond to the email, your cold prospects aren't going to respond to the email either. And that is the best test for your cold email. Truth number 2, technical deliverability is 90% of the battle. If your emails are not reaching the main inbox, then your copy doesn't matter, your offer doesn't matter, your lead list doesn't matter, nothing matters. Few things we still see agency partners that we come on board with now, and even some service providers that they were working before still doing, are just golden rules to just stop doing. One, stop using HubSpot, other CRMs to do your cold email as a service or for your internal business. It doesn't work. It's not designed for that type of service. It is strictly designed for subscription-based emailing where somebody logs in and wants to receive emails from you or from your newsletter. It is not meant for cold email as a service. Number 2, stop emailing from your own domain. We still see that, like ours is coldoutreachsystems.com. We still see companies using that specific domain, their own domain, not building new ones, using that specifically for their cold email and mass emailing service and burning through it very quickly. The third thing, we still see this today. Stop setting up 5 to 30 inboxes and thinking that's going to be enough volume to test your offer and to test deliverability. It's just not enough volume day in, day out to test if your cold email service and your offer is working. We still talk to agencies who have done this before or have hired people outside to do these. If you just don't do those things, that's the first step to getting deliverability in a good place. Now let's talk about our infrastructure and what we recommend doing. So the first thing we're doing for a client is we know we need to do serious volume to get them meetings. And this is where a lot of people go wrong. We are typically setting up anywhere from 100 to 500 inboxes for a client, doing anywhere from 15,000 emails a month to 75,000 emails a month, sometimes more. Depends on the client. That is a lot of volume and a lot of inboxes to manage on behalf of a client or internally in your business. So the reason we do this much volume is we know consistently we will book one meeting every 1,500 emails we send out. So we ask the client specifically, how many meetings do you want? Once we understand their offer and how many meetings they want, we build an infrastructure to get that amount of meetings. And because we send millions of emails every month, we know not only how to manage the infrastructure, but we also know how many emails have to go out based on their offer and who they're targeting to get a set amount of meetings. Second thing we do is we diversify our inboxes. So there's agencies who use Gmail, use Outlook, use one or the other. Some use SMTP. We found the infrastructure that works best right now is 70% Gmail and about 30% Outlook as you use it for deliverability. Part of this is just we are able to diversify. If something were to happen in Gmail or something happened to Outlook inboxes and just they went out overnight, we still have inboxes sending emails on behalf of our clients. The second part is we just found that best for deliverability to send the emails out from that type of infrastructure. The next thing we do for our client is we set up 2 to 3 times the amount of inboxes needed to get the meetings that they want. What I mean by that is if somebody wants wants 15 meetings and we have to send out, example, say 20,000 emails for that. We'll set up infrastructure to do just that. But we also will buy additional infrastructure as a backup to make sure that the pipeline is consistently there for the client rather than having a month or half a month where just no meetings happen. What happens is one set of inboxes are going, sending out, say, 1,000 a day. The other two sets of inboxes are warming up consistently for a longer period of time, which improves deliverability for those inboxes. When I start to see deliverability go down on those inboxes, I replace them with the other set of inboxes, repurchase that other set that deliverability just decreased, and put them back into warm up. So now we have this massive infrastructure for each client. We have all these clients on board. Because of the scale of everything, we have a team in place that actually manages the deliverability for each of our clients. And when they need to be replaced, they are replacing those. We check that and monitor that throughout the week. Now, most agencies won't take this kind of time and resources to invest in their infrastructure for two main reasons. One, they just simply don't have the time and resources to dedicate to having a team managing that type of volume. Two, they don't book enough meetings for their clients, and in doing so, have a hard time seeing the point in investing in more infrastructure to get them meetings. This could be a pay-per-meeting basis, retainer basis, whatever it is, but their reality and in their head is, if we invest more in the infrastructure, are we going to see a return back for our clients? And if they're not sure, they have a hard time investing into it because it's going to eat into their own profit margins. Here's the three main things I do to watch for deliverability and to watch my offer at the same time. One, emails should be maxed out daily. However many inboxes I have available, I need leads and campaigns ready to max out daily to send as many emails as I can per client. More activities equals more meetings equals more deals and more money for our clients. Two, we don't really run inbox tests, inbox placement tests. Domain reputation, we will look at. The absolute number one indicator is reply rate. If reply rate drops under 1%, there's a big red flag that your inboxes are probably cooked and you probably need to replace them. The third thing I'll look at is positive reply rates under 10%. If positive reply rates are under 10%, but reply rates are good, then we probably have an offer problem. And one last metric to look at that isn't necessarily deliverability, about 20 to 30% of those positive replies should end up in a booked meeting. If you're not seeing that, one, you're not getting to the lead fast enough. Two, you're not following up enough. And that's usually what we see when people try to manage leads on their own. By the way, if you want to see how we handle your entire email campaign, including offer creation and inbox management, click the first link in the description to see if you qualify. Truth number three, getting the meetings is easy. Helping agencies close the deals is where most agencies fail. Most cold email agencies simply only care if they're generating leads for your company or booking you meetings. They don't care about your bottom line. The problem with that is they're simply missing the bigger picture. The reality is, if you close more deals, you're going to stay with that agency for a longer period of time. Here's how I learned this. In the beginning, we were booking meetings for our clients, having good success, and booking dozens and dozens of meetings for our initial client base that we took on. The problem became they complained about lead quality. Now, I come from a background of Fortune 500 sales. Typically, if the person is complaining about lead quality, it's not their fault as a salesperson. There's usually something wrong within the process they're doing that is impacting their ability to close the deals. It's one of the thought process of, why is this person closing 80% of the deals and this person closing 5%? There's probably something that person is doing wrong. Now, first thing I look at when somebody complains about lead quality is, are we targeting the right ICP? That was happening. So we're targeting the right ICP. So I ask more questions. What's your sales process like? What kind of questions you ask in your discovery call? Did you set up a second call? When did you go over pricing? Just kind of basic questions. A lot of them didn't even have answers on the sales process. A lot of them giving out pricing right away. Some of them not setting up a second call. There was a lot of gaps in execution of this. It became very clear that most of these agencies I worked with, or most of these clients I work with, didn't have a sales process. And the ones who did, after monitoring a few calls, weren't executing it very well. And I looked at it, this isn't necessarily their fault. So I was lucky enough to have grown up in a corporate environment, went through Fortune 500 trainings, trained employees, trained supervisors how to train employees. And I grew up in an environment where we just knew across a large sample what works in sales, what doesn't, what's best practice, and have listened to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sales calls. So I have this extensive knowledge that I've had from my background that there was clear gap in execution for these smaller businesses that I clearly saw the need to help. So we built out a sales coaching program within cold outreach systems. So first thing we do is review strictly just the sales process and what that should look like. From discovery call, which questions you should ask, the process, how to book a second call, all the way to the pitch call, how to do the pitch call, how to go over pricing, how to focus on their pain point and how you can help fix their pain point. Then we create call scripts and make recommendations on call scripts. And the third thing we will look at is we'll actually monitor their sales calls for execution of the sales process to provide them feedback. And then we do that completely as a courtesy for any client within the first month of working with us. So what happened next? After we put the sales process in place, the first thing we noticed was clients immediately thanking us as they had significantly more deals going to proposal stage. And we saw closure from clients go from maybe 0%, 5% to 15 to 20%, which is normal statistics for outbound. Again, these are agencies that have never had sales training or extensive sales training like we did, and probably haven't done outbound. And if they have, they haven't had luck with it before. So they just haven't had that kind of exposure. So this process alone fixed their closure. Next thing that happened, our clients retained at a higher rate. We retained clients more frequently with this process in place and the ones who go through it than the ones who did not. So we put it as part of our process for every client moving forward. The next thing that happened, we collected more testimonials. As we got more testimonials, we took on more clients and closed our clients at a higher rate. So it was a win-win across the business. These three truths explain why most cold email agencies can't deliver consistent results. They're selling you tactics when what you need is a complete system. The agencies that focus on scripts and templates are avoiding the hard work of building real infrastructure and creating offers that will actually convert cold prospects. When you understand the offer creation, technical deliverability, and the sales coaching are all equally important, you realize why most agencies fail and why we only get paid for results. Now, if you want to work with an agency that does all three of these elements and only gets paid when we book qualified meetings, click the link in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.